Hey, it's Bitty Penny. Welcome to my channel. Today I have a video for you of my craft roulette card for this last week when Miss Sharon Lusko was a guest on the episode. And I am working with my friend Cree Rama's digitals from her Etsy shop. There's this one with these funky little monsters, and there's another one with kind of the old haunted houses. Now, I only printed up a few and I kind of scaled the monsters down a bit. I printed these two to a page so I can make them fit in these little haunted houses. So it was so fun catching craft roulette. It's really kind of been a while. My Friday nights are occupied now, so I don't usually get to watch the lives like I used to. And so it was like a treat to get to watch. Always a good time on craft roulette. The parameters were a pop-up card, and I love it when the parameters are not set to a specific size because you know, you can make it any size you want. And this, I don't even know what size this card is. Like, I wasn't thinking of card size when I was making this. It is just the size that the printables were, basically. But I do have it handy, and I happen to have a ruler, so let me check it real quick. It is 6 by 5. So it would fit in a 6 by 6 envelope. It is kind of a trifold, if you want to think of it that way. The haunted house digitals are really cool because they are mirrored. The way that Cree designed them, they're kind of mirrored, so I can back them to one another like I'm doing right now. And that way the front and the back line up perfectly. And I just love that she did that because I think you have more design options. Now, obviously, you wouldn't have to back it with itself, but you could back it with paper or, cardstock, whatever you want. But I love for this little trifold that it is mirrored, so both sides are easily just done. Now, she did have some pre-drawn in holes to punch out for these. And I followed them for these two sections of the haunted house, but not for the third. And I'll explain that when we get there. I used some little eyelets just because I'm going to use eyelash trim to keep this card together and to bind it into a card. I had so much fun making this. There were different times when I would take a break, chat a little with the chatterbox, and then go back to making. But it was my goal to finish the card before the episode finished, and I made it just in the nick of time. So here's Cree's name, Cree Rama, and you can find her here on YouTube. I've mentioned her many, many times. She's an uber talented mixed media artist. I absolutely adore her. And so I'm so happy to support her. She just started making digitals, and they're crazy and kooky, and I love them. Okay, so here's the example where this has the pre-drawn in holes, but I'm not going to follow them. What I'm going to do is line up the bottom edge of these two haunted houses, because when you're making a trifold like this, you need things to line up so that they'll stand up. The first little house that I put on it, or the one that's sitting there on my desk that I'm going to put on the front, it is higher up. It's not aligned at the bottom edge. So if you don't align everything, then your house won't stand up. So that is something you have to pay attention to more than the holes that are drawn in. If you were just making like a junk journal or something, it would probably be less important, especially if you were going to have like a lot of pages or something. But you do want things to line up along the bottom edge in general, even if it is a junk journal, so that if someone did want to stand it up, they could. You can't just have one long page and everything else all cattywampus. Not if you want it to stand up. Okay, that's just a structural construction note that I wanted to make sure to share. So I grabbed my Sharon Johnson pokey tool and I am going to tie some knots here. Sarah makes these really beautiful jeweled pokey tools and pens and all kinds of things. And she sent me one and I just love it. So I got my eyelash trim connecting all of my pieces, and now I get to do some of the decorating. Let's talk about some of the other parameters were. The colors were trick or treat. The element was boutique, and the random was jewelry. So I had already planned on making this card. And a lot of times I think people are on design teams and they go on Craft Roulette and they're really hoping to showcase the new product that they have. And I get that. But Mr. Wheel doesn't play to that kind of scheming, let's say. Very often, there's lots of ways to make the parameters work, but it's one of those things where you really can't pre-plan what you're going to work with. But it just cracks me up. I had these printed. They were on my desk already. And when Mary spun the wheel and all these parameters came up, I literally ran to the craft room. At first, I was just going to sit on the couch, chat in the chatterbox. But then when these parameters came up, I was like, no way. I get to make the card I already wanted to make, and it'll work for Craft Roulette. Awesome. So I'm going to use some foam because if you weren't going to make a trifold, then you could just use foam. And technically foam is a pop-up. So you can pop up elements of your card with foam. And that's what's so cool about Craft Roulette is that you can make the parameters work for you. So I'm using foam to pop up a little door here that my monster is going to be popping out of. This is a boutique. I need to put a sign on there that says boutique. But yeah, that's what I'm creating here. I was so honored. My sweet friends mentioning that I had a boutique. Yes, I do. And sorry, it was just so sweet. Okay. Now, I'm going to make a door. I'm going to back this door that is Cree's door on some cardstock that was a scrap on my desk. So I'm backing that with green cardstock, and then I'm going to cut off another piece, fold it in half. It's roughly the height of the door. And I'm going to make this a hinge. So this door is going to pop open. So here's another way to create the pop-up feature of your card is to make something hinged so that it pops open or pops up. So I have a few ideas, obviously. My card is a pop-up because when you open it and stand it up, it's a pop-up card. There's just so many ways to use that parameter. I've already had a look at the gallery. I love the way people fit in the boutique. I thought that was just so clever. And I have this box. Well, I actually have two like this that have like old broken pieces of jewelry in them and different like jeweled embellishments. And so I dug through here and incorporated some of those into the card as well for the random. So I have my two door pulls or doorknobs there, and then I put that diamond looking one over that window on that front of the house. Yeah, so my friend Sharon Castor, she was so cute. She made a card with my paper and with Mary's stamp set. And she was like, she said she covered the boutique part because she got it from her two favorite online boutiques. Oh, Sharon, you're so awesome. Kiss your brain. I loved your card too. And she used the beaded page from Crafty Queen, and that was her jewelry for her card, was that beaded page. So that was so smart, so clever. Okay, I have had, and it's so silly how we get attached to certain things. This would have been cool, but it's way too heavy. It's going to have to go on the front of a journal. But this little beaded earring, I only have one, and I've loved it for so long, this orange one. I'm creating like a crescent moon with this here. And then I had this other beaded earring, only one of those as well. And I'm detaching just one of the dangles and attaching it onto this beaded crescent moon. And I am actually going to punch a hole at the top of that roof, and I'm going to tie this on with eyelash trim. And I just kind of get it to where it hangs like the moon. And then I punched a hole and I am tying it on with a ribbon. And that's how I attached my crescent moon to my haunted house. I just love the way it came together, and I love the extra bit of fluff at the top of the house. So I could have kept going and going and decorating and decorating. I did do a bit more. I mean, I had plenty of time. I think this took me 20 minutes to make this card. And then I was like, well, let me keep going. So I grabbed my mica flakes. These are Distress from Tim Holtz. I love mica flakes. I love the texture that they add to a card. So I know it kind of looks like broken glass, but hello, it's a haunted house. So I've got a bunch of broken glass on the ground. Careful when you come to the boutique. Um, and so I put that along all of the bottom edges, inside and outside of the card. And I'm just using my regular PVA line co glue for this project. It totally works for glitter and embellishments, mica, stuff like that. Now, I did use my Fabri-Tac to put on my jewelry pieces. It dries super quick and it holds really well. So, those are the two glues I used today. A few more mica. Now, you do want to kind of tap once your card is completely dry after applying mica flakes. You do want to kind of tap them off and get any of the pieces that are falling off the card, and then you're set. In a way, kind of like glitter, but not glitter. Extra chunky glitter. I wasn't done there. I thought, okay, we've got broken glass on the ground. Let's add some gold flakes to a few of the rooftops. I didn't do every rooftop, I just did a few. And I used my same glue. I used my PVA line co glue here. And I'm really laying these on thick. And that's just because I didn't want to get my fingers all sticky, but it is kind of a messy process. Another way that you could do this is to put some double-sided tape down. I just didn't want all the straight lines. I didn't want the rigidity of the double-sided tape. I wanted the wonkiness of the glue lines. And so I just lay my flakes on super thick. You have to make sure you've got good contact, but lay them on thick. So I did these 3 rooftops, and you have to let this dry. So there were a few points in this card where I would take a break, I would chat and with the chatterbox, and then I'd go back to crafting. So this is definitely one where I took kind of an extended break to let my glue dry because of all the mica on the bottom and the gold at the top. It was just necessary. I could add so many more details to this card. I would love to add some stickles, some Nouveau drops, and all of those things, but this is where I landed and finished so that I could finish enjoying the show. I had so much fun getting to spend my Friday night with Mary, and Sharon was great. Um, Sharon started her channel about the same time as me. We shared design teams together, and she's just a hoot and a holler. Hilarious. So I hope you enjoyed this. Go check out Craft Roulette, and I'll see you next time. Bye.